Not all cats arrive with a meow. Some just appear, quiet, gentle, like they were always meant to be there. This is the story of Daisy, a small calico cat with a half-orange, half-white nose, 3 colors stitched into her fur like a quilt, and a habit no one in the neighborhood could explain. Every morning, at sunrise, she would walk up onto the same wooden porch. She wouldn't scratch the door, she wouldn't cry, she would just sit there, wrapping her tail neatly around her paws, and wait. For 41 mornings in a row, she came back. And the woman who lived inside that house had no idea this little cat was about to change everything she thought she knew about love. Her name was Margaret. She was 58 years old, recently widowed, and she lived alone in a small suburban home in Oregon. The porch was old. The wood was cracked, weathered by years of rain and sun. Her late husband had built it with his own hands. After he passed, she could barely bring herself to look at it. Until one Tuesday morning in early spring, when she opened the back door to water her plants, and there she was, a small calico cat, sitting still, watching her with the calmest eyes Margaret had ever seen. She didn't run, she didn't beg, she just blinked. Margaret smiled. She set out a small bowl of water and went back inside. She didn't think much of it at the time, but the next morning, the cat was there again, and the morning after that. By the end of the first week, Margaret started leaving a little food, just dry kibble, nothing fancy. She was sure the cat had a home somewhere. She looked too clean, too well-fed to be a true stray, but she never saw her come from anywhere. She never saw her leave. By the second week, Margaret started talking to her, just little things. "Good morning, sweet girl. You hungry today?" The cat would tilt her head and listen, like every word mattered. And by the third week, Margaret realized something she hadn't expected. She was getting out of bed without dreading the day, for the first time in 2 long years. Margaret tried to ignore what was happening. She told herself this was a stray, probably someone else's pet, probably with a family of her own somewhere. But on day 28, it rained. A cold, heavy rain that lasted all afternoon. Margaret stood at her kitchen window watching the porch. The cat was still there, curled up in the corner, soaked through, shivering, but not leaving, just waiting. Margaret's heart sank. She opened the door, she held it open, she waited. The cat looked up. Their eyes met, but she didn't come in. She just blinked, slowly, like she was saying, "I'll wait, I won't push." Margaret was stunned. Most strays would have rushed inside. Most cats would have begged. But this one, this little calico, was asking permission. Margaret stepped back. She left the door wide open and set down a bowl of warm food just inside the threshold. Still, the cat didn't move. Not until Margaret quietly said, "It's okay, sweetheart, you can come in." And then, one slow paw at a time, she crossed the doorway. She didn't run, she didn't sniff around, she walked straight to the bowl, ate carefully, and then lay down on the kitchen rug, eyes half closed, body finally at rest. Margaret sat across from her on the floor. She didn't reach out, she didn't try to pet her. She just whispered, "I think you've been waiting for me, haven't you?" And the little cat purred for the very first time. Moments like that one are why this channel exists. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider it. These are the stories you'll keep finding here, and your support is what helps them travel further. In the days that followed, Margaret expected the cat to leave. She thought maybe she had just been hungry, maybe just cold, but she stayed. Margaret bought her a soft, lavender-colored bed. The cat sniffed it once, walked away, and curled up in an empty cardboard box from a delivery sitting in the corner. That night, when Margaret peeked in to check in on her, the little calico was sound asleep, paws folded, head pressed against the cardboard. She had a real bed, but she chose the box. Margaret laughed quietly to herself, eyes wet. "Old habits, huh, sweet girl?" She named her Daisy that morning, just because the name felt soft, and Daisy fit her. Gentle, patient, still. Daisy had this strange habit. Every morning, even after she had a home, she would still go and sit at the back porch, the same spot where she used to wait, like a ritual, like she didn't want to forget. And every evening, when Margaret came home from her part-time job at the local library, Daisy would be there, at the door, sitting up straight, tail curled, eyes bright. She wasn't begging, she was just there, Margaret started realizing something. Daisy didn't ask for love the way most cats do. She didn't headbutt her, didn't meow loudly, didn't paw at her face. She just existed nearby, quietly, constantly, like she had decided, this person is mine now and I will not be far. It was a kind of love Margaret had never received from a pet before, a still, patient, almost human kind of love. Some people swear cats choose their humans. Others say it's just chance. Did Margaret find Daisy, or did Daisy choose Margaret? Tell me below. I read every single comment. Then came the winter morning Margaret will never forget. She was in the kitchen, washing dishes, when a sharp pain hit her chest. Sudden, tight, hard to breathe. She gripped the counter, her vision blurred, and then she felt it. Daisy pressing against her leg, hard, insistent, looking up. Daisy meowed loud, once, twice, 3 times. Margaret had never heard her meow before. She managed to grab her phone and call her neighbor. By the time the paramedics arrived, Margaret was sitting on the floor, leaning against the kitchen cabinet, and Daisy was in her lap, pressed against her chest, purring. The doctor said it was a minor cardiac event, nothing too serious. But if she had been alone, if she had stayed standing, she could have collapsed and hit her head. When Margaret came home from the hospital 2 days later, the first thing she did was sit on the floor of the kitchen. Daisy walked over, slowly, calmly. She climbed onto Margaret's lap, pressed her forehead against her chest, and stayed there. For 3 hours, Margaret didn't move, because for the first time in a very long time, she wasn't alone. In many cultures, calico cats are believed to bring good luck. In Japan, they sit in shop windows as the maneki neko, a symbol of fortune. In old fishing towns, sailors used to bring them on board for safe passage home. Margaret used to think those were just stories. Now she's not so sure, because Daisy didn't just walk onto her porch one morning. Daisy walked into the most broken part of her life and stayed there until it wasn't broken anymore. She still sleeps in cardboard boxes sometimes. She still sits on the porch every morning like she's keeping watch over the home that almost wasn't hers. And Margaret still whispers every single day with her hand resting gently on Daisy's back, "Thank you for finding me, sweet girl." If you're thinking about adopting a cat, please remember they're not just pets. They're quiet little miracles. Sometimes the ones nobody else noticed are the ones who will save your life. Sometimes love doesn't bark, doesn't roar, doesn't chase you down the street. Sometimes love just waits at your back door for 41 mornings until you're ready to open it. And once it walks in, it will never, ever leave. So tell me honestly, was Daisy just a lucky stray, or do you believe some animals are sent to find us? I'm reading every single comment, and I genuinely want to know what you felt.